Hey yo! Hi! How you doing, everybody? What's up, the world of the living? My name is Zloy, and welcome to a potentially almost the dumbest stream I've ever did. Hi, child. What do you want from me, child? Be right back. Hi. Hi. Кот? Угу. Я стримлю, ребят. Нашли время.
Это будет копись. Копись. Коп. Коп.
Хорошо.
Это коп будет позвать коп.
Угу.
Я только видел.
Где видел?
Мама,
Да.
там замени.
Угу.
Пойдем.
So anyway, the overarching theme of today is going to be professionalism, as you can clearly tell already. Big on child. Guys, that's my son. I cannot just begone him. Anyway, it's still 5 minutes till the thing, so I was just like feeling like, yeah, let's just hang out for a bit.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, and I've been through some shit.
And listen to some music. Well, music. Yeah, how you doing, everybody? Today will be the potentially dumbest stream I did. Like potentially, it's up there. It's not quite the Galaxy Brain. Galaxy Brain stream is when you stream yourself eating an apple with a spoon at 3 in the morning. Because of course you do. that is actually something I did. That's actually something I did at one point. But today is the small galaxy brain, like the planet brain at the very least, where basically for the entirety of the stream, I will be showing you. Should you open the YouTube and not Minecraft? Yeah, I do have my YouTube open at the moment, and we will be watching basically. Me and you will be watching YouTube for this entire stream. Basic, like core concept, basic premise. We will be revisiting a video. Too old music. Alright, music too loud. There we go. Don't worry, I'm gonna help you make the stream as dumb as possible. I'm gonna hold you to that. So yeah, hello everyone. Thing is, imagine putting like a lot of effort into something, alright? Imagine putting a lot of effort into something, like pouring your heart into it. Just product of love, alright? Then uploading it to internet. And 2 years later, or 2 or 3 years later, you come back to it and you realize that holy crap, it's utter garbage. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, imagine coming back to like your passion project and oh my god, it's utter garbage. It's just total crap. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to light myself in a way that actually will make me, you know, visible. Because the more I do it, the more like shadows I get in my actual face. All right, now you can actually see every single pore of my face. So yeah, hi. Point being, today we'll be revisiting my videos from back in Minecraft 1.8 to 1.9, but we will not be focusing on the videos themselves. We will be focusing on something I did back then, and back then it was, yeah, a bit of a cluster truck, let's put it that way. Basically, what happened back then is I had an idea. And it was really stupid, but I didn't really want it. People keep asking me like if I'm a Homestuck, and truth be told, I used to be really big Homestuck. But I dropped it approximately like when it was already like before the final act. Before the final act, that's when I kind of dropped it because I got tired of just reading it because I was really terrible at English back then. But the idea of this some sort of vid content coming out basically a lot and eventually transforming into something beautiful and complex and unfolding in the way Homestuck unfolded really inspired me, like really put my heart into the inspiration mode. So what I attempted to do is I attempted to bring a story to my Minecraft Let's Plays, and usually it's actually pretty good. Usually, like, when Let's Players do that, it's actually fun. But with me, it couldn't have just been a story, right? It couldn't. I had to add freaking machinima bits to it. And on paper, it sounds really, really good. In practice, it's utter freaking garbage because, well, I'm terrible at machinimas. So, allow me to show you, just to showcase how garbage I am at machinimas. Here's the thing. Do you mind actually loading? There we go. Here's the thing. And keep in mind, this is Zloy from like forever ago. It's my English there is even worse. But here's the thing. This here. This is not the Full Stack Season 2 which we'll be talking about. This is Full Stack Season 1 finale, which was unexpected. We didn't know like what happened. But here's the thing. I actually had a good idea for it. Alright? I actually had a really good idea. And the thing is that instead of just being like, hey guys, we're done today, I actually expanded on the idea. And you can see it in the background. In my base, I used to have a statue of a ghast up here that was frozen in space, frozen in place, and like kind of went into the hibernation. So for the finale of the Full Stack Season 1, I decided to pretend like someone had thawed it out. And as a result, it would spring up, shriek, and just attack my base and destroy it entirely. Very much a good idea, but it ended up actually looking terrible. It's lagging. Cave Spider, there's chances are it's like because of you. Sorry. Like it's on your side. Has to be. Yeah. Basically, it ended up looking long story short like this.
What we gonna do? Because I've been away. If you didn't know, I've been away for 3 weeks.
Yada
And I
yada.
had no opportunity to go fish it. Yeah, the rest of
All from come here, you least important part.
So this is basically what went wrong. Nothing went wrong. I executed it perfectly. So yeah, it basically goes into this time lapse of me building. Yeah, building a statue of myself because I'm a vain shark. My skin was not detailed, it was shaded, just more aggressively. I like my current one more, but because like it's nicer, it's nicer.
Alright guys, now that we've finished
here it
with
goes, here it
that
goes.
particular project, let me talk something about server reset. That's right guys, you heard it right, and you probably already know that Full Stack decided to reset the server before updating to 1.9. Now, that might... Wait, what's going on here? Oh crap. I didn't change the resource pack back to the winter one after the time lapse. The weather core has melted. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Oh god. Please don't. Damn it. Damn it!
The whisper shrieking is just chef's kiss. And yeah, those are some random editing skills, but That's the thing. Random at the very least was doing this. So yeah, basically, for some reason, some people thought that that was actually good. Like, I revisited the comments, and it was actually pretty kind of fun. So yeah, this is me on like maximum effort back then. What I need you to understand is one of the many reasons why the edit, like the footage looks so. First of all, I was whisper yelling because back then my child was only 1 year old and we didn't have like separate rooms. So I didn't have a separate room to recording, so I had to keep my voice down most of the time when I was recording. Better yet, the reason the keying, like the effects on the gust, like the reason some segments of him are transparent where they shouldn't be is because I didn't see that the effect was applied wrong. Do you know why? Because back then my computer was absolutely horrid. And I could, like, when I would set up this type of footage, I couldn't actually preview what it would look like until I already rendered it out. And render times were like 1 hour to 2 hours. So after like you spend 2 hours rendering and the episode is already due, and there's like a bunch of people on the Russian side waiting for it, you kinda gotta just render it out and upload and just not fix it, because fixing it will take another several hours and you don't want that. YouTube wants you to upload like as often as you can. So I was really pushing myself with this. And the worst bit is that if you thought that after like watching this thing I like re-evaluated my skills and was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be doing machinimas, sadly the response was very good. Not on my English channel, mind you. On my English channel, barely anyone watched this. Like 2 people. That's not 2. 2 people basically watched it. Nobody else, nobody cared. Because like back then my videos would get like 100 views tops. And that's a very generous top. But, actually not much difference from the current state. But, here comes like the lesson I actually sadly learned is that I should actually not do less machinimas and actually put effort in them, but that I should make more machinimas and be ambitious about what I'm trying to do. So for the season 2 of Full Stack, which started basically immediately after, I had a plan. I had an idea. And we'll talk about that idea a tiny bit later. But first, allow me to show you just the folder I keep all of these videos, by the way, is titled not porn. Just, you know, so you just so you know. So first episode of Full Stack season 2. Cry not loud, did I not download it? I'll have to look it up on my own channel. Let's go to YouTube, everybody! Woo! YouTube, you know that thing? That place? Yeah. Wherever all the cool kids hung out. Full Stack. Boom. And this is what I'm walking up to, by the way. This is like our end game for today. But we are looking for episode 2. What are you doing here? Give me episode 1, YouTubes. You stupid. There we go. Oh, you guys, you gonna, yeah, it's gonna be.
The heck was that?
Hey yo pretty people, welcome to Full Stack Season 2.
I can't even say the word welcome now with the same amount of accent. But yeah, that was basically the first episode of full stack, and it was, yeah, full stack season 2, and it basically started the entire storyline. So in the last episode of season 1, you saw me and a golem flying off into the. I apologize. I will freaking suffocate if I don't do this. Yeah, flying off into the sunset. Season 2 naturally starts with the two of us crashing again, and now you can tell that the gust is. You actually cannot tell because I'm on. Yeah, you can tell that the gust is over here, like submerged. The lore of the series, and of course my freaking Minecraft Let's Play had lore, was that essentially, I need to find a freaking playlist of this because tracking down every single video will be terrible. But here's the thing. Essentially, here you go. Essentially, the lore was that. How do I put it even? The lore was that gusts existed on like overworld, and the gusts that existed in the overworld were eldritch gusts. So like proto-gusts. They were bigger, more vicious, with more firepower, but they all went extinct because they are cold-blooded. So in the overworld, because it's colder in the overworld than in the nether, where like there's lava everywhere, gusts would fall into hibernation. So they would basically just freeze up and fall asleep into semi-conscious state for basically forever. And the idea was that gust that we saddled and like flown into the sunset was the gust, like one of these what you call it? Yeah, there we go. Was one of these eldritch gusts. And you could like ride them, and you can arm them, and they were basically made of blocks. And yeah, it was really an interesting idea that I had, in my personal opinion, that basically had the entirety of the series based on it. So that's why the gust crashed into the mountains, because mountains, extreme hills, are a cold biome. So it like froze up, crashed into the mountain, and once again fell asleep. That's why like I survived. So yeah, how'd you guys feel about that? Because it's about to get even wilder. Because I didn't wait long for another for the next, before I made the next machinima. It's my stomach hurt. Yeah, that'll do it for you. That'll do it to you. Cool. All right. So this one, in my opinion, is mildly better. But it also what this machinima does is introduces a little bit more of that kind of stuff. Like what this machinima does is, it's not really jumps the shark, but it politely steps over the shark. Because this one introduces the freaking villains.
Oh, roll the music, guys. Let's get that time lapse going.
You can't see it before. See? The gust has birch stair teeth, because it was like second day of playing on the server. I did not have quartz. The music is actually really good. Oh hi, I used to do the like bit. So, spoiler alert, they do not defeat him and also they don't have a plan. Like, whatsoever. Tix, what are you doing here? So, yeah. Basically, what like this machinima, yeah, they don't. This machinima does is it introduces the villain faction, which is actually I really like the villain factions. I will probably not bring this back, but I did have this idea, and it was actually inspired by Power Rangers of all things, and to a degree that is actually unnerving. So here's the thing about this, and I'll let the episode just kind of roll in the background as we chat. Basically, here's the thing: Power Rangers would always had the main body, several generals that would serve him, and regular monsters, like this hierarchy. So the monsters you see talking in subtitle during the machinima are supposedly the generals that would serve this unseen for now big bad. What happens is that basically they obviously have their own gusts. They obviously have and their faction consists of the Wither Skeleton, the Slime, and the regular skeleton who is also a pirate, but he will only become a pirate in like a couple more episodes. I did not have written this through before. The first season of Mighty Morphin had clay golems. Where are my clay golems, Mojang? it did have a clay. It didn't have clay golems. It had like Rita Repulsa would like smash together and create monsters. But here's the thing. Another way in which Power Rangers was like inspired this video is because the way Power Rangers was filmed was there existed a show called Super Sentai in Japan. And what they did in adapting the Sentai is they cut out all of the non-fight videos. They kept the fights from the actual episodes of Sentai as basically an effects reel, and they would add their own made-up live-action story to the Super Sentai fights. And the reason why it relates to me is because at that point I still had my second channel, the Russian one, running. And what I would do is I would record these episodes at the same time for the both sides. So an episode would come out in English and an episode would come out in Russian, and they would be approximately the same. With like minor alterations. But they wouldn't be the same episode revoiced. Like both episodes would have uniquely created scenes, and the only footage that would be the same are, well, yeah, are the fights, the machinima beats, like the impressive shots. So it was kind of a headache. You can imagine under what kind of stress I was back then. I have seen like one episode of Super Sentai. It is pretty good. It is pretty good, as it is all original footage and people actually know what they're doing. So it's like, it is good, but you know. Anyway, that was the first appearance of the Rita Repulsa faction, and yeah, what instantly kind of differentiates this from the like other machinimas on the market is that usually the machinimas, the villains will be played by other players with just wearing custom skins. I decided to go just absolutely bonkers and created the monsters kind of looking at each other and talking by just simply having like mild commands running as I was flying around in replay mode. The series took a nosedive after replay mode was not updated to 1.10, but let's not think about that. Now, I know that there's a couple of episodes of filler, and I do not actually know which ones. So this is gonna be a problem, because we need to hunt down the next episode where we have a machinima. But thankfully, it's actually in the very beginning. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Also, surprise T, you should have dropped Power Rangers way before the Gokaiger adaptation at the Gasager, but that entire season, like Mega Force and Super Mega Force, is garbage and deserves to burn, and I hate it. I like very much. My condolences to the poor actors who apparently actually actively tried to make the series better, but the producers just wouldn't listen. Yeah. Anyway, back to this crap. To my garbage, not to the Saban's garbage. Anyway, here's the thing. They say we'll be there soon enough. Soon enough doesn't happen until like 2 episodes later. My favorite bit is them measuring time in episodes. Like, the episodes are a legit measure of how much time has passed. So yeah, it's not quite like the thing, but here's a problem. Like, one missed opportunity that I'm still sad about is that I didn't use Optifine to create custom textures for the boss mobs, for like the generals. Nowadays I would absolutely go for it and just create a resource pack. If you don't know, in resource pack, in Optifine, you can make a resource pack that, like, if you rename a particular zombie, for example, Zloy XP, and like your resource pack has it programmed that way, that if there is a zombie called Zloy XP, then that zombie will instantly be applied a particular skin that you prepared for it. So, like, for example, my skin. So you can do that in Optifine. I had no idea that you can do that in Optifine. You could do that in Optifine even back then. No one told me. I wish someone actually helped me program that. Yeah. So, Plaguer, I know about the bedrock breaking thing. It doesn't surprise me. I'm very much not impressed. Well, I am impressed that they figured it out. I'm not surprised that it's like something you can do in the game, because at this point I'm just like, what can't you do in Minecraft? Had no idea that you could do it. Yeah, no one does, because no one uses it for anything, because it has like only 2 uses, and one of them is for creating adventure maps, and adventure maps you want to create for people who don't actually have Optifine. Anyway, with how much I'm building up this scout ship, like these skeleton pirates, you can expect a battle, like the first encounter with them, to be very, very meaningful. Very, very meaningful. So, yeah, I wanna say I went all out for the first villain encounter. I'll honestly, it was just a peak of my ability to video edit and also to write. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I will note that the font for the subtitles changes basically every single time. If that's one of your personal pet peeves, I apologize. I was an idiot and honestly was way too preoccupied with telling the story to actually bother with like making the videos actually good. Oh yeah, I forgot. By that point, I actually have like my own army. Not army, but like my own people. So I got a witch called Varfa, who is the potion master and enchanter. I got a zombie granny called Elizabetha Nuremberg, short like Granny Nura for short, who is also a head of like a guild of zombie miners. And then I have a golem general called Afanasi. So all of them are active characters in this. All of them are on my side and have like particular abilities. Varfa was like the witch, was basically my scapegoat for like whenever I needed to something to happen, I would make Varfa just like exposition drop it. They are the guys from my YouTube banner, Cookie Demon. Those are exactly the characters. Yeah, basically that.
What in the hell is happening? Holy cow. Alright, my mobs have some explaining to do.
So that was some Dockham levels of acting, mind you. And yeah, acting 100, yes, definitely. Granny Nura was not a traitor in the end. Spoiler alert, she was not a traitor. It was a headcanon of some of my Russian fans, apparently. Anyway, that was the first encounter with the skeleton pirates, and you can tell I put a lot of thought in it. They just get blown up like first at the very first encounter, like first opportunity they get, they just like one punch, done. So yeah, that was a thing. Also, we had a April Fool's episode with Pigglesworth, where we basically like screwed up the entire server. We pranked everybody we could get hands on. It actually has like my favorite prank, which I later did without Pigglesworth alone on the server, and that is like, you see the pirate ship? That was a pirate ship by a player named Gorokus. And what I did is I added that giant squid that was eating it from behind. Because for no particular reason, Gorokus just never finished the backside of the ship. So I decided to justify it by building a giant squid who would be eating the ship up. He never removed that. So I actually saved him a lot of effort, mind you. So, that. Next next advancement in the story actually was when I was pranked by two girls on the server that actually built their own version of an Eldritch Gust over here out of wool, and yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. So also I know that I like investigate the sunken ship in here and find like a pirate hut, and I realize like, oh crap, there are pirates somewhere around here. Oh, that's not good. That's very not good. Anyway, that's the wrong episode. I don't remember where the next one is, so bear with me. Oh, there it is! Right. Wow, I was way productive with these machinimas. Anyway, when I said that that was like the end of the skeleton pirate, I lied. It was not.
Huh. Look. Didn't I have like twice that amount? So I gotta... Wait a second. Where's the gust? Where's the big gust? Oh, hi, Mr. Skeleton. What are you doing here in the daylight? Huh. Hey, yo, beautiful people, welcome.
So here's the thing about that entire idea. You saw like clips from the previous episodes, and about those clips. Also, I love the phrase "we're gonna get my hat back." Basically, first I need to clarify that they use the slime one. Like, they are a skeleton, a wither skeleton, and a slime, and they constantly use the slime as the kind of communication thing, as a communication officer, because supposedly he's basically several slimes. Like, he was a slime, a bigger one, who was split into several tinier slimes, and they all have like a shared mind. So they have like a because they were split from the same slime, all of them have a shared mind, so he basically is their spy. And I never actually explained it in the videos, but it is a funny headcanon to have it. It is a funny use of a slime. Now, the reason the Rhesus pack is so weird is because I flub between two Rhesus packs, like the default one and the Beat Better by Vinci HD. And I love that related Rhesus pack. I wanted to have my entire Let's Play in it, but sadly I could not. And in this particular machinima, I've simply forgotten to tune it off before starting recording. Because, as we already established, I am anything but professional. Okay, doesn't seem like... Oh, this is... In this video, I was pranked with thousands upon thousands of heads, of player heads, being placed across my area. I will have you know that heads in that amount lag out computers, especially my terrible old one. So this was basically me at like 0 FPS for half the video. It's like how octopuses have their brain cells. It's more like when a worm is split by a shovel. Oh, okay, so in the meantime, we noticed at this point in the story, I noticed that stuff is disappearing. that stuff is disappearing, and at the same time, we noticed that there were my digging and crying noises in the mines. So the zombie in charge of the miners was like, my people refuse to go into the mines because they feel that they think that it is haunted. They hear dynamite and they hear crying noises, so they believe that those are ghosts. And yes, heads can be destroyed by water, but I did not know that back then, so I had to punch every single one out. It was super frustrating. So what we did is we started assembling the power grid out of end crystals at the bedrock level in the mines, as to help and be able to control the ghast in the whatchamacallit. Also, at one point, I don't remember exactly when, we caught, I believe, yeah, he's what the power grid ended up looking like. So it was 4 end crystals just spread across the room, yada yada. At one point, we actually caught the slime spy. And what's notorious is that we were discussing the creation of the power grid, like Zloy and Varfa, the enchanter, were discussing that power grid between each other as the slime spy was right next to us. And that also will come into play later. Like, that's why the reason I'm discussing this with you is that those are the clips that are filmed from like first person view, so like from regular Let's Play point of view, and hunting them down to actually show you would be just an absolute nightmare. I don't think I could do it. A+ camera work. So this basically explains where the pink ghast that I was pranked with went. They stole it. They freaking stole a giant ghast while I wasn't looking. I know it's very believable and is not convoluted whatsoever. Also, by that point, I was basically just building up my town, so it was actually really impressive by that point. So it was a bunch of small builds, and I still love it. It's a nice cozy winter town called Zimgrad, and underneath it I had like a cryptum in which I myself would live, and at the bedrock level there was like a double zombie spawner, and it was just good thing. It's fun. It's fun. I liked that base, okay? Don't at me. So, yeah. Basically, I also want you to understand that by that point, I was very much a slave to my freelance job. And I absolutely had to basically, like, walk around my wife and my son constantly. And this was, like, a passion project I didn't have much time for. And that's super frustrating. But yeah, anyway, by this point, we've caught the slime. We have it, like, just sitting in a cage right next to Varfa. We discussed in front of him that we have started making a power grid to control our ghasts, to protect the thing. And we stole the captain's hat. So, why are the villains after you? Okay, Nicole, they never really explained it, but they say that they want the mountain. Well, not mountain, but they don't want me there. They don't want me to be where I settled. And they actually explain it further in the final episode, where we actually sit down and talk. But by this point, we don't really know why they don't want Zloy just to be alive or anywhere. They just wanted me out of the picture at this point. So next episode is actually the Machinima one.
Hello. Hi. Hi. How's it going?
Yeah, the subtitles for this machine are super screwed up. You have to keep in mind that I couldn't preview stuff, and re-rendering stuff was just a nightmare. So editing mistakes like subtitles being out of place or out of sync are all over this place. Basically because like I couldn't, for me to fix that I would have to go back, and it would take like literal hours to render. And at that point I really tried. Nightly Model Pirate Hat, yes, it is. I can't remember exactly who did it. I'm pretty sure it was either the Unitor game or Sam Zorus. I'm pretty sure it was Sam Zorus, and I love it. It's my favorite hat. I want hats in Minecraft, damn it.
Oh, about that, I kinda, while you were talking to your tiny army of skeletons, I decided to just kill all your guns and just take their place. You kinda didn't check before lifting off, that was really stupid of you. Yeah, originally I planned to just shoot down your entire ship with my ghast, but it really didn't work, simply because, this ghast, yeah, I kinda have plans for her myself, if you don't mind. My ghast, yeah, about that funny story. See, the crystals that your crew members are currently trying to take control of aren't exactly helping the ghast, helping me to control the ghast. See, the thing is, Varfa, she's a well-known witch, okay? She knew that tiny slimes split from a single slime, they share consciousness, telepathy, yada yada, so we kinda lied about this whole Ender crystals controlling the ghast situation. Yeah, those are purely decorative. They have one purpose though. They explode freaking awesomely. So, yeah, buddy, don't be salty about this whole situation. You were, to say in your own language, outmaneuvered. And now, if you don't mind, that armor that you're wearing is rightfully mine, since you made it out of diamonds that you stole from me. So yeah, I'm afraid there's only one way to settle this. Woo! Buddy, I have superior intelligence and a superior gear and a superior crew. So I guess this is how it ends. With me on top of the enemy ship. And you know what, now that I think about it, I actually have no idea how to steer this thing.
Back from the dead.
What the... Holy cow. So, you're alive, buddy. Hey. Hi.
This was 2016, the darkest year. So yeah, the final fight with the Skelly was utterly disappointing and boring, but I don't know. I don't know. You tell me what you feel about this little story beat, because this Gust, by the way, her name is Cupcake. My Gusts are basically all names named in the honor of treats. So my first, not in the honor, like by the name of treat. And Dingo, please don't speak Russian, crying out loud. That's against the rules of the channel. But yeah, here's the thing. This one is called Cupcake. The guy on top of a mountain is called Sugar Cube. And Sugar Cube the Gust is my favorite name for a Gust ever. I love the name Sugar Cube the Gust. Yeah. Basically the Skelly pirate failed and died. Though honestly, out of the entirety of them, he was my favorite of the villains, because he actually like had a plan and a hat. And honestly, I love villains that have hats and plans. So yeah, that's my thing. Yeah. Oh, this is the episode in which I stole a shulker from the end for quite a while, mind you. At that point, I actually started establishing like a nether base, which is, once again, you can probably tell my that my habits did not change. Like in this season, I had a base that was in the nether and really nice and really big, but like utterly useless, but just pretty. But whereas like on Truly Bedrock right now, I have just the entire nether hub as mine. So I'm still the same Zloy, is all I'm trying to say. Oh no, wait, this one is Sugar Cube. I forgot what was the other one. I forgot the name of the other guy. Not Sugar Cube, something else. Oh yeah, okay. So in this episode, I actually built... The story is that I started building a ship for the... like... A ship to cross the lava on, but pigmen eventually stole my blueprints. The pigmen stole my blueprints, stole my materials, and just built it for themselves. So my point is that at this point I kind of start establishing connections with the pigmen. And then 1.10 came. And I don't know whether or not it was... Oh yeah. This is the pigment stealing my blueprints and everything else. I love it. It says in Russian, blueprints of a blueprints and materials for a ship. Do not touch. Enslaved glucose, yeah. Oh, there you go. So, a bit of movie magic in replay mode, which I'm pretty sure was working back then. You can actually disable the name tag. Sadly, I did not know that, so that pigment really is just me in a pigment skin. No, John, that's the thing. They built the ship themselves, and they stole the ship. Oh, there it is. So, and that's why you don't just let your materials lay around in the nether. Building it then stealing it is more... You can... Look, if you steal it before you build it, you have to carry all the materials on you. That's frustrating. Okay, in this episode, Nick Nasty built a jail at the center of Fullstack, in the spawn town of Fullstack. Like, it's a legitimate jail because he's like a cop. So he's built a jail, and we basically transported the bugger, which, by the way, bugger was the name of the slime that was palling around with the skeletons, and we basically just locked up the bugger because why not? So he was in jail at one point. I say was because later story development. So that was a thing. I don't remember where this stuff happens. So yeah, after that, what starts happening is the Zimgrad, like the word Zim actually kicks in. I steal my own Gust for the, like I steal my own Gust here to try and make, inspired by the Skeleton Pirates, I want to make my own Gust powered ship. And because the Elder Gusts aren't necessarily like, aren't really collaborating, I decided to try and put a regular Gust from the Nether into a ship. So I got this guy. He was not cooperating either. And also, what I start noticing is that the weather starts to get worse. So like everything is covered in snow. Zimgrad is like just colder and colder and colder, and that kind of stuff. So this thing happens. But then you will notice that episode 28 goes before episode 30. So episode 30 goes before the episode 28. And you're like, oh, wait, where's episode 29? And there's episode 29, the lost episode, which is like, once again, a 3-minute, like, a machinima of sorts. So right now the villains, like, villains basically don't have one of their skeletons. They have lost the pirate general. You can tell I'm actually better at this point. See, dramatic pauses, they're important. By the way, Exuma supported me on Patreon once. Like way back when. So yeah, I feel in this one I actually did a lot of good things with the pacing, even though the dramatic pauses are kind of obnoxious. That's not very nice of you, John. Come on. Actually, let's see the comments. Yeah. Yeah, people seem to like it back then, and that honestly was like enough for me. So, what Shaman ended up doing is basically applying a very passive measure of attack, trying to kind of use basically a weather weapon against it. A lot of people. Can you not with the ice pants? And it was fortunate that 1.10 came out back then. I was already preparing for that plot twist that the new member of them is going to be a stray skeleton, because they already had other like regular skeletons, and I already knew that stray skeletons are about to be implemented. At one point, I also wanted a husk to join the good guys, because husks were implemented and we already had zombies, but I decided basically didn't have time or energy for it. This is also like the video in which we are revealed for the first time that the main bad is a wither, but honestly it was pretty obvious anyway, so yes. Oh, also I had like these guys on my side. So those are zombie engineers I got locked up in the library to basically try to assemble the ship for the Gust. Like at that point I got the Gust, but I needed like new blueprints to be designed. So yeah, I had those two guys sitting there kind of developing the ship, and you can see like that's why it took me such a forever to actually build the ship finally, is because they were just piling on random stupidity like a squid launcher. That kind of stuff. So yeah, this is where I get my flagman ship, like my first one, and it was cute. It was not a big one. Also, the gust that would end up be pulling this ship would then have like a fez on top of its head, built out of blocks. So it's like, there we go. It's like one episode in which I was showing how to do that. Yeah, you can see like he's a gust in a hat, for example. That wasn't new by then. Oh, and he has a beard, by the way. Yeah, it wasn't new back then, but it was funny. He lied. So here's the thing. By that point, the witch Varfa.
Sparta,
Oh, that is.
need to talk. Listen, we need to enchant a portal into transferring warmth energy from the nether to the overworld. We should have enough time to deal with it, okay? The glacier will not be arriving to the town soon. Huh. Alright then. That's great, but we also need to not freeze to death while you're doing it. Get the portal enchant ready. I'll be working on the reactor.
So yeah, that's basically how I justified building a gold farm. I dug out a large area underneath my base. I filled it with nether portals, and it was intended as the reactor, which would be basically channeling the hell warmth into the whatchamacallit, into the air, as to heat up the area. So it would basically like thaw out the town to counteract the curse, because they actually wanted, like, one thing that Varfa back then noted already in one video or the other, that like the curse that is making the town freeze is not actually a curse. Like, if it was a curse, she would have already dealt with it, but it's some sort of a very ancient magic. You made an air conditioner in Minecraft. I made the opposite. I made a space heater. So I'm just looking for like when it's turned on, because that was pretty fun. Just a wall after a wall. Probably here somewhere. Oh, come on. Zloy from the past, do your thing faster than it.
But right now we
Okay,
need to
here it
actually
is.
light up the portals. So get set, get ready, and pull the lever, Kronk!
And it kind of worked for a while, but not much. So what that ultimately did is bring I actually do not know where the next that is. Yeah. Bring the... Oh, it actually is explained here. What it actually did is bring the shaman out. So now it wasn't enough for him to just magic up the place. He actually had to calm down and like properly screw it up himself. So yeah. And that's when we hit like the machinima where like Zloy and Shaman actually meet up.
Alright, no one's there. Oh my god, I hope she's alright. Hey Varta, what's going on? As soon as I step out of my grave, everything is frozen, there's stray skeletons everywhere. I thought we negated the curse or whatever, the spell, with the nether reactor. Wait, so we weren't cursed after all? Wait, 2 spells. And the second one only kicked in today. And the idea is that the whole frosty winter biome on top of the hill is caused by this mage putting that snow block in between of his antenna. So the idea is that this antenna is what defines which biome this hill is switched to.
Yeah, Stress Monster played on full stack before joining Survival Series and consequently Hermitcraft. We never actually recorded together, sadly. So yeah, that was basically a throwback to Season 1, in which I had this weather core. And the weather core was supporting basically the coldness in Season 1. So it was basically used for the exact same reason. The idea is that somewhere in the world, Shaman currently has a weather core, like freezing Zimgrad over. Like he hid it somewhere, but because that kind of magic doesn't go way like around, it has to be somewhere nearby. So yeah. About the haircut, she actually like that's a wig. This was my first attempt at adding custom textures to these characters, and it will not last. It will be basically just it will be basically the only time she appears like that. So let's assume that she felt fancy that day.
Huh. You know, I actually suspected this.
He
Except
did
that
not.
I got too carried away with the building of the nether reactor.
He's lying.
Huh.
He had no idea. I
Okay,
know it
look.
because I'm him.
Search for the nearest packed ice block around the base. Do the Google, do the spells, whatever. I'll go check on Afanasi. We'll see if we can fight off the skeletons. Woo! Okay, right about now everything's under control. Keep fighting off the skeletons. They continue to spawn, but me and Warta think that if we deal with the source of a curse, so with the magician, it will all go away. According to what I know about weather magic, weather core cannot be too far away from the place that it's weathering. So I'll go around the base looking for any structures. In fact, I already have a suspicion of where it can be. Here, let me grab some obsidian so I can come back easily. Oh yeah, I forgot my elytra. Well, of course. Because who needs to build another base?
Yeah, they basically just took the base from the previous skeleton. Why not? I mean... One of the main problems of this series is that a player easily dispatches basically any amount of enemies, so... You know...
Come on. Come on. There you go. Was that everyone? Huh, I guess it was. Well, okay then. Let's talk about you, Mr. Ice Ice
Yeah,
Baby.
the shaman is
A lot
over
of
there,
crappy
behind
guard
the
you
ice,
have
if you
around here.
can't tell.
Yeah, right, Asif. Dude, I'm from Russia. This right here is like regular old winter for me. I see that every year.
Why did he turn into a pirate here?
Obviously, me plans were flawed. You win this one, zombie. You flawed me plans.
Whatever you say, I'm not giving up my city. Oh no, you don't. You ain't going anywhere, buddy. Hey, wait, where'd he go? Did he actually die? No, that can't be it. Okay, I better get back to my base.
Yeah, don't do a second take, you dumbass.
Oh. Well, that was easy. Afanasi, status, report. What's going on?
Cloud. Boy, the pacing is all over the place. Yeah, Marshmallow, that was his name. Yes!
That is exactly
That's even
where we
cuter
need
than
it.
Sugar
Tell
Cube,
the
honestly.
engineering we need to crank up the reactor. I know that the temperature is rising. We can deal with it. That's what I want. Tell the engineering to crank up the reactor. And
Crank
I'll tell
up loud,
Water
Zloy.
to
Why did
crank
you
up
not-
the nether.
Why did I not edit out like the bad takes? I'm an idiot. Holy crap, why was anyone... How many people watched this? Why what? I'm utterly convinced now that all of these people were just pretending to like me.
Energy
To like my stuff.
transferring spell. We're gonna pull something really big out of there.
This video is 9 minutes, and if you edit out all the bad takes, it's only gonna be like 2.
General, did
Yeah, that about sums it up. Anyway, here's the thing. This was made, obviously, in a creative copy of the world, which I took from the admins. The thing, like, the idea, if you couldn't tell by the visuals, because the visuals are freaking garbage and confusing. So, the idea was that the nether reactor, because it's like a ton of nether portals, was big enough for me to saddle the ship that the pigmen have built and just cram it into the reactor and use the reactor to transport an army of pigmen who were obviously by that point aligned with me because I've built a town for them. So, yeah, basically, the visual of the pigmen killing the stray skeletons also was accomplished actually very, very interestingly. Back then, you couldn't make mobs into teams, or else I would have done that. What I did instead, you can note that the pigmen don't have swords on them. That is because those are pigmen summoned using a command. And if you summon a pigman using a command, you have to specify that it has to have like a sword, or else he just will have empty hands. And I didn't figure out how to do that, but what I did figure out is how to spawn a pigman with an invisible wolf riding it. When an entity in Minecraft 1.10 rides another monster, an entity, the AI of the entity that is riding overrides the AI of the entity that is being ridden. Basically, just like with the zombie jockey, if a zombie is on top of a chicken, then the chicken will behave like a zombie. So, with the pigmen here, the invisible wolves on top of their heads made them want to attack skeletons. Because I'm cool like that. It would seem the pirates are on your side. Why did you not stop the attack in Dragon-Hearted? I don't know what Dragon-Hearted is. What if we all have... Look, inside you there are 2 wolves. The joke is one has depression and the other has depression. That's because you have depression. I love this joke. Yeah, basically... The whole reason I'm like, it was a stroke of luck that the villains were skeletons. I intentionally made the villains the skeletons because I constantly would usually die to skeletons in the beginning of the game. So, yeah, that's the thing. Next up, basically nothing happened till the end of the series. I created a pigment police out of the remnants of the pigment army, who would sit around doing nothing, pretending to be useful. It did not occur to me that I accidentally call the police pigs. That was not my intention with that, but it was kind of a interesting coincidence. And I also attempted to kind of queue them up by giving them heads of different, just different custom heads I exchanged from an admin. So, yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. yeah. By that point, full stack was just utter garbage, and no one is playing on it, and I felt really bored and really alone, and no one, like next to no one, is watching my videos anyway. So I decided to finally end this series with a boss battle, but not with the boss battle that like you would expect. You would expect the final battle to be with like the Wither King, like the Wither boss. But I instead settled for the Wither Skeleton because I intended to continue this story into my next Let's Play. So yeah, here's the final machinima, and it's the junkiest one. Honestly, it's the worst one and the best one. Like, just absolutely. I know this is not my this is not exactly like my masterpiece, but it's up there. So I don't even know how to preface this stupid thing. Let's just watch it, I guess. So that's the Granny Nura, the zombie in charge of the miners. Yeah, it's the one I linked already. So, for some reason I thought that doors that are 2 block high are a good idea for a machinima involving a Wither Skeleton. Might be a moron, but you know, just let's suspend our disbelief. We'll pretend that he crouched or something. So yeah, it might be somewhat confusing here, but basically the idea is that they did something like magically with one half of the bugger of the slime that they had to make the other part of the slime into this giant magma cube. So yeah, that. Yes, titled. The idea was that because all the buggers are connected, they do share the boredom of being in jail, in solitary no less. Poor guy.
Hey, bugger! Long time no see! How come you're out of prison?
Mild hiccup is that Zloy kind of always called him the bugger, while never actually learning that that is in fact his name.
Huh, so you guys suddenly decided to push for a peace treaty.
So yeah, this is why basically they've been attacking this whole time. That boundary wall is actually, like, I don't know. If you mean the one like in the swamp, there's a boundary wall, and then there's like an like super bolt. You know, the one that that exploits the piston. I don't remember exactly the what was that the bug that was called that, but whatever. There was basically just, yeah. So this is why they wanted Zloy out of the picture this whole time. They have something underneath the underneath the mountain that they don't want like Zloy to have, and they're just not happy that players are there.
Well, we haven't found any treasure. We'll keep it posted though, in case we stumble upon it. No deal, buddy. It's too late for that. After the all-out war you have been waging on us, I don't want to see any of your people around my base. If we happen to dig into your treasure, we'll probably split it and we'll share a slice. But you ain't getting off. Finally, what has been keeping you two so long? Ah, great, now he's split into many pieces. Hey guys, mind fireballing him again all over, just in case? That's more like it. Alright, you guys keep patrolling the area, I'm gonna go meet up with the others. Oh great, you're all already here. So,
I have no idea why I decided to add subtitles for Zloy here, especially since they are inaccurate half of the time. They actually are inaccurate most of the time. I have no idea why I decided to add the subtitles there.
the bad news are we probably have only one day left to live. Good news is we finally know what the pirates are after. Some kind of dumb treasure apparently buried beneath the city. But we never really have found one, so the whole thing might be just made up to begin with. Unless...
Also, during the Let's Play itself, this miniature gust head was introduced as a gustling, like that's a tiny gust, called, by the way, Ice Cream. So, this is your formal introduction to Ice Cream the Gust. She just kinda appeared one day.
a certain leader of the Mining Guild hasn't been telling us all she knows. Hmm?
Yeah, the subtitles are just super impossible. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. More or less, turns out that for like a week now, what's her face, the mining lady zombie, was hiding from everybody that they undug this giant thing. And they basically were looking for it because she kept hearing crying noises, like ghost sounds in the night, in the mines. And they just don't know what it is, and they don't know how to open it because, like, they tried TNT, they tried TNT, they tried pickaxes. They don't know what it is, and they don't know what to do with it. Whatever it is, it's hella strong, and someone really didn't want anyone to have it. That was supposed to be introduced way earlier into the season, by the way. Like, the plan originally was to have this relation way before the final episode, but I rushed the final episode into production. 1 week would be like one episode. I rushed the final episode just to finally get rid of playing on full stack, because when you are a dedicated YouTuber and everybody else on the server isn't, it is beyond frustrating. Like, people are either not getting anything done, or just not, or getting anything done during streams, and none of that is helping you grow. Because the entire point of like having a multiplayer server is to help each other grow. And therefore I was super frustrated about me having to play on full stack and not being invited to any other like actually fun servers to play on.
Did you guys hear that?
That's another reason, like, yeah, the original bugger also died. It's never actually clear whether or not like the second part of him died, like all of his parts were destroyed. So I don't know if this ever got a continuation, which it will not, because if like I continue it, then obviously to understand what's going on you will have to watch this. And I don't want anyone to have to watch this anymore, because it's kind of horrible. But still, like, he could potentially come back. You keep an eye on the fortress, and don't you dare come close to the master. He will obliterate you in his anger. So, fun fact. Basically, in the next season, that would be my new Eriador Let's Play. There were barely any machinimas, but I was trying to do them, but basically recording on new Eriador turned out to be even more frustrating than recording on full stack, so I just made a mistake. So, my original plan was to, in next season, so in chapter 3, to turn out that the master, so the Wither boss, would actually be just a shell of a Wither boss that the Wither in the pirate hut here, the Wither general, was controlling by some sort of a magic to kind of keep everybody else fearing him. So the master was only a puppet, and the main villain of like chapter 3 would be the actual shaman. Another fun fact, in the canon of New Eriador, so the next season, Shaman was ultimately defeated. Well, not ultimately, but like Shaman actually had an encounter with one of Zloy's friends. He was like heavily injured. Last time we saw him, he was heavily injured by a pig. Not a zombie pig, just regular pig. He was, his name was Ethan, the non-despawning pig, and he was from my original Bedrock Edition Let's Play. Where, because back then, like, passive animals would despawn unless you interact with them, I put a saddle on a pig, and I called him Ethan the non-despawning pig, because he was the only pig that was, like, eternal. And at one point, he had an existential crisis, and ran off on me, supposedly. But if you download the file for that Let's Play, the world file, you can go into the Nether and find his hideout in the Nether, where he lives happily as an adventurer pig. So yeah, even the pig ended up kind of fatally injuring this guy. Even the pig is badass and the true hero of the story, but let's not talk about that. I love this ship design, like the gas design for it. I love it, it's so good.
For the record, he started it. Well, all's well that ends well. Varta talked the ghasts into submission, although the mother ghast refused to cooperate until we unfroze Marshmallow. Anyway, it's gonna be a bit of a while before we can restore the Zimgrad entirely. And I'm sorry buddy, but you will have to do it without me. We found some treasure maps in the remnants of Wither's ship. Some of those may contain other ghast nests, and we cannot have the pirates get to them. Sorry to leave you here like that. But hey, maybe once we're sure that Zimgrad is safe, you can hop on a ghast ship and meet up with me. That would be nice. But this isn't an end for us, buddy, I promise. As I like to say, to be continued.
Well, that was traumatic. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna put it on the back burner, just kind of rolling in the background. So that was fun. What you guys thinking about it? Honestly, it's my most ambitious thing, that I did, and at the same time, it's kind of the junkiest as a result because my ambition at that point, and still, honestly, keeps overshadowing, overthrowing what I actually can accomplish. In a perfect world, you want this to kind of go hand in hand. You want to be as ambitious as you can pull off. Sadly, I'm terrible at special effects, and yeah, that's the thing. I feel my biggest mistake at the same time was somewhat underestimating myself, while at the same time being way too ambitious for my own good. It's bizarre. Get this, Machinimas would have been way easier to make for the series if this all was happening in single player, where I can just control the world however I want. But back then, and still, I believe that I'm not good enough of a let's player to pull off a single player let's play. Even more so, for me, point is to, well, kind of collaborate, and I believe that I can build up my own channel easier if I can just go hand in hand with friends, with somebody I can rely on for content. But at the same time, doing this in single player would have solved so many problems. I could have used mods for acting in the thing. I wouldn't have to wait for the admins to send me maps every freaking time I wanted a machinima. I would have just done a lot more if this was single player, but you know, I had to rely on other people. I had to think that Zloy, you're not who's gonna watch me? Poor lonely zombie, yada yada. So it's still in me, that kind of outlook, that I don't want to do a single player series on Minecraft because those kind of suck and I get bored with myself and that kind of stuff. It's not saying much. It's not. I don't know where I'm going with this. So story-wise, the treasure map that Zloy mentions at the end of this, the original plan, which I never followed up on the whatchamacallit, on the new Redor, on the next server, like in the next chapter, is that it was basically like, I'll talk more about stuff that was working against me when I was making this. So later I will talk. The story should have went that I find a map to a treasure, go there, and it turns out that it's not a map to a treasure. It turns out that it's a map way home. Because they, yeah, bye Shad. Because they kept coming out of nether portals, you would assume that their base is somewhere in the nether, but it would be a plot twist. I would have pulled a sneaky on ya. Because it would turn out that their base is actually in the ocean. And I would go following that map, set up my own base, build up a town like I do. And then, in the story, it would turn out that I have built my new town right on top of their own base. And this whole time they just used nether portals for transportation from point A to B. They haven't like actually been living in the nether. And what it would turn out, like, the main villain for that season would turn out to be the shaman. But the trick is that the shaman can't do crap for me because he's stuck down under the water. Because Ethan the pig would knock out would knock out a part of his skull, which would make for the shaman, which would make it really hard for the shaman to concentrate his power, and as a result, he would never be able to get out of the stupid base, because no matter where he went, because he's surrounded by water, the water just keeps freezing, so he can't get out because he's like frozen into being in that base. And that would actually be a really good whatchamacallit, really good thing for if the series would ever reach 1.13 when the drowned were introduced. Because then the drowned would have like broken into his thing and like, oh, okay, we can actually go over the water, unlike you idiot. We can do your bidding. And actually, like, it was even foreshadowed still in the Let's Play itself, even though the Let's Play never reached the conclusion of this story arc, where in the Let's Play, when Ethan showed up, the way he showed up in an iceberg, and he rose up from the water, right next to the base, right after having a little battle with the shaman, suggesting that shaman is in fact right underneath the base. So that never came to fruition, sadly. Oh well. Right now another story I had in mind was the return of the Wither Skeleton captain. Not captain, Wither Skeleton general. The guy who the final battle was with, because out of all of them, the Pirate Skeleton and the Wither Skeleton were my favorites. So the whatchamacallit, the pirate skeleton was the wither skeleton was basically like my favorite villain because he was the smart one. He was like the orchestrator behind it all. So that was a good idea, and it never came to fruition. And the way I wanted to bring him back, is to make a flashback to when he dies, and he has actually dropped a wither skeleton skull, and some zombie would just randomly pick it up. And because it's like his skull, that zombie would be overtaken by the skull, and be like, oh crap, I'm this wither guy now, and like the wither guy would control that zombie constantly. And eventually, another idea I had is to make a let's play in which the illagers from the mansion, so the Vindicators and the Evokers, would be the main bad guys. And in that story, I actually had an idea that eventually they fail at like fighting Zloy. So one of them goes like, I have a secret weapon in store. We might not want to use it. Let's use it. And they actually pull out that skeleton skull, and they put it on a zombie, and they have him do their busy work until he gets sick of them and like overthrows them and goes up against me himself. Sounds like a perfect opportunity to expand the every Zloy is the same Zloy thing. But yeah, Lyra, that's the thing about it. This video had 1,000 views back in May 2017. Right now, last time I checked is, yeah, August 2019. So it was 2 years ago. A year in Let's Play time is a decade. No one gives a crap about this Let's Play. That's why I felt like I need to do this video, this live stream. That's why I wanted to bring this up, because this is some of my favorite work, and it's entirely forgotten. And I'm fine with it. It's kind of terrible here and there. Like, for example, this shot right here. Do you know why there's no background? Do you want to know? Do you want to just once and for all be disappointed in me as a creator? I forgot to green screen this out. I actually had a shot for this. I actually had a shot of like background also like spinning the same way the camera spins here. And I just simply forgot to put that background in. Cause I'm an idiot. So that, and yeah. Thing is, this here, you can even see. Yeah, it kind of disappears very awkwardly. That's because there was supposed to be an effect there. So, yeah, that's full stack season 2. It was good, except it wasn't. that's my general idea. Let's go streamception. Where's my? There we go. Are you happy now? So, the best part about it is that while you say that I'm like a quitter, without background actually better, it would be better if there was like not necessarily the background I intended, but like some different background, not just a plain blue color. I think an interesting story bit for TB would be a moon base with aliens. Yes, Plugger. So here's the thing, Plugger. As the canon of Truly Bedrock season 1 is right now, is anything can happen. Basically, moon rocks are currently, like, little spoiler, moon rocks are magic. Not in general, like, we have a planned conclusion to the moon arc. But the moon rocks themselves can basically bring with them whatever. So, like, if somebody wants to do the aliens arc, if like Silent wants to do the aliens, they can. It's not against. Like, all it will take from them is like 2 words with me. Spoiler alert, Foxy has already foreshadowed what he wants to do with one of the meteorites that hit his base, and I already know it, and what I will participate in that because that's super like it's super fun. Spoiler alert. Anyway, point is, meteorites essentially can do whatever, as already demonstrated by like a meteorite hit Lyra's base and just annihilated it. A meteorite hit my base and barely touched a building. Like the moon chunks, there is some logic in where they fall and how they fall, but they're like what the effects of them falling are is basically whatever the creator who has it happen to them decides, that's what it can be. Like it, the way we set it up is like the storylines are generally like I'm not in charge of storylines, but I am in charge of storylines. Not really, but I just kind of check so it all mildly fits together. So yeah, it's gonna walk wherever it walks. So the Great Moon Chicken's hatching. Nice. Nicole, perhaps. Might be. Anyway. So yeah, if you ever wondered where the machinima at the end of the Truly Bedrock Season 0 came from, like why we even had the idea of the ships that would put us from Season 0 to Season 1, that's where I already knew that I can, in fact, video edit a ship to fly. Making a video edit of a ship to swim was not that big of a stretch. So I knew that I can do the effect. So I decided, you know what, let's do that. And so when we were discussing the premises for the Season 0, that's why that idea caught on. Because, well, I was pushing for it, and several other people also were really into it. And you probably can tell it was fun. It was fun. If you saw like True Bedrock Season 0, that's where it came from. So yeah, I have regrets. I have regrets about this Full Stack Season 2. One of them is like no one actually watching it, and me still putting like this much effort into it. Like a lot of people actually watched it on my Russian channel, and my Russian channel still freaking loves that series. That series was actually called Zloy vs Minecraft in Russian, and that was also kind of the foreshadowing because there were literal Minecraft monsters that wanted me dead, so the name was justified. At least you had fun and good practice. Yes, I did. And more importantly, one thing that was also working against me was how terrible my computer was back then. And it's like, wow. First and foremost, I only had like 10 gigs to video edit. And it's, what? Are you serious with this shit? 10 gigs for a video editing, especially of that size, especially for Let's Plays that are like 20 to 30 minutes. It was stupid. I could not. It was so much so that sometimes I would put a video to render. It would render out. Tell me that it's rendered. I would open the file and it would cut abruptly midway into the file, and the rest of the video would be just black screen. Because midway into the rendering, the program would just run out of disk space, like just hard drive space. Where is it? And back then I was freelancing, I was doing freelance art. I was doing this channel, I was doing Russian channel, and I was doing Hermitcraft Recap for free. So it was miserable. I was constantly stressed about my family not having enough money, and I was constantly stressed about my family not having enough money. I was dreaming about being just a full-time content creator, and that's why I kept working on Hermitcraft Recap, even though it was not paying me back then whatsoever. I was pulling my Russian channel because it still has like 40,000 subscribers, so that was my best shot at ever becoming a full-time YouTuber. And yeah, it was it was hard, and I struggled, and this was kind of my passion project that I for some reason decided to go through with, despite not having the resources for it whatsoever. And now that I sit here and I have like a monster machine of a PC, like not the toppest tier, but a pretty like high-end one at this point. At the very least, making let's plays on this one it's super easy, and video editing is just a joy with this PC. I can actually see what I'm doing for one, so that's why the chroma keying on the Truly Bedrock finale is that much better. Is because I actually can tell what's happening and what effect my actions have. So yeah, that's the thing. That's one of my like big passions, is to have like this Minecraft series with machinimas in it. But sadly, the way it's looking up right now, I can't really do that outside of Truly Bedrock, and I am very limited within what I can and can't do with Truly Bedrock. Because Minecraft Windows Edition does not have a lolcat language. It doesn't have joke languages, sadly. See you, Svetlana. Yeah, basically that's a bit of a problem. That it's like a multiplayer server, so if I just randomly introduce villains for myself, the rest of the YouTubers will be like, yo, what the crap? Zloy, what you doing? And yeah, I was wanting to make like the villain faction for the Truly Bedrock itself too. So that might be spoilers. That might not be spoilers. We'll see. Eventually, I might actually make it. So it's just that this idea of having like a full-on overarching story, unless it's full-on environmental, by which I mean like, unless it's something like, oh, our enemy is the ocean because we can't really do much because we're surrounded by the ocean, or like, oh, our enemy is the moon because the moon keeps hurling blocks at us. Like, unless it's that kind of conflict, it doesn't really work for multiplayer. Though at the same time, at this moment, Foxy Notel has created a machinima just of an amazing scale, that like one I would never have created, because he actually knows how to 3D model and how to 3D animate. But he has created this machinima of like unheard of scale when he was making the story arc of him going back in time to rescue his alternative account. So I guess I could potentially make something like that. It's just that the amount of planning that I would have to do to make this a server-wide storyline for 15 other YouTubers and make it fit with all of them, nearly impossible. I can probably do it, but it would be very, very hard. Like, very, very hard. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me ask away if you have like any questions. Let's have just like a 10-minute or 15-minute Q&A, and yeah, I'll be happy to chat with you, because wow, this was way too personal now that I think about it. It's just so many memories. I just had to upload and included Ethan and Traitor Zombie Granny. I can, but I don't want to, is the thing. I mean, then it could be Eggman. In Sonic X, he blew up part of the moon. Yes. Yes. Sorry, why it would be difficult to do impressive as heck of pulled. Yeah. The thing is that like the complication about doing Zloy XP cinematic universe. Yep. The complication about doing like a story-wide is that you have to just take into account what every single channel is ultimately about. So if the final machinima would not be... My wife is just brilliant. Where'd you get a song? On No Copyrighted Sound YouTube channel. If I had to pick a feature for 1.15, what would it be? I don't care. I'm happy with the way Minecraft is right now, honestly. I am overwhelmed. Thank you, Chloe. I'm sorry, I can't English. So the thing is, like, if we want a really convoluted, like, not convoluted, a complicated, really ambitious machinima for the finale of Truly Bedrock Season 1, and we do want, spoiler alert, I want it a lot, we will need a story that will utilize everybody's bases, everybody's strengths, and everybody's, like, just best parts of their characters. And yeah, that's the thing. That's the difficulty in planning that is, of course, that we don't actually know when the season is gonna end, unlike with Season 0, where the goal was to end it as soon as freaking possible. That's legit was the plan. We didn't even plan on going for as long as we did. So, but for Season 1, it's hard to plan with like 15 people actively doing their own stuff, and it's especially hard to plan with, well, 15 people, like something that will encapsulate 15 people. Like, if I just introduce a faction of villain skeletons that would be walking against the entire whitelist, one player can annihilate a skeleton easily in Minecraft. 15 players, half of whom are redstoners, will annihilate all skeletons ever, forever, easily, without breaking a sweat. Not gonna be able to kind of tell everyone on something. Not everyone will be interested. Just ask for one. Yeah, I know, Lee, but that's already getting into how to do. First thing first, I need to decide do or do not. Then need to decide what do, and then it comes to like how do. Season 0 was great for getting used to each other. Season 1's getting there. Yeah, it is getting there, wherever there is. Honestly, for me personally, I'm in this limbo of where I want to do stuff, but I'm too tied down with all of my projects, which is like in the can you be the villain? Colin, I would never have enough like patience to not reply to incredible amounts of hate I would get from Silent Whisperer's fanbase for being the villain. Although it would be freaking funny. It would be good to have me as the villain for the next season or something. Imperial, that's because I don't care about what the description says. So that. Thank you everybody so much for watching. This has been a weird experience. Probably for you even weirder than for me. And yeah, I really appreciate it that you stopped by and actually took time to talk to me. It was fun. It was fun. See you later, and bye bye. Love you.